Hi. So I want to talk about aging and Hawaii's economy. This is work with Michael Abrigo. A lot of others have helped. We're going to rely heavily on our representation of Hawaii's generational economy based on data for 2012. So in the upper left-hand panel here, we see two profiles. One is consumption and the other is labor income. These are per capita values by age, and the difference between the two is called the life cycle deficit. And so this is the amount that is not funded by labor income and has to be funded in some other way. So it's quite large for seniors, for example. Now, the different ways that we are funding the deficit in Hawaii are shown in this lower panel. And if we look at seniors, we see that mostly it is public transfers and assets like pensions and so forth that are funding the deficit. And for children, it is mostly public transfers, particularly public education and private transfers. Now, the other panels on the right-hand side are aggregate values. So these are in millions of dollars. So one is 1 billion, 1K is $1 billion. And these are calculated by using population times per capita profiles. And so this presents us with a simple way of looking at aging. We can talk about what if the per capita profiles remain constant, but population changes in the ways that we expect as projected by DBED and extended by us to 2060. So if we look at the next figure, we can see the values for 2020. We'll just look at consumption and labor income in the upper panel, and in the lower panel, look at the life cycle gap. This is for 2020. Now we can project this forward, and the biggest changes are here in the size of the life cycle deficit at older ages. There's not much change for working age adults or for children. Let's look at this again using the total values by year. So for 2020, we have consumption and labor income. And the gap in this year, we estimate to be $9.5 billion. It has to be funded in some fashion. It's a big increase from 2010 when it was only $6.5 billion. And we can look forward to another big increase between 2020 and 2035 and continued rises to 2060. All told, the gap is going to be, I don't know, $7.6 billion or so increase by 2060. So what can we do about that? Well, there are a number of possibilities. One possibility is that we can just accept lower standards of living. We can say, well, we're living longer, and so we're just going to have to consume less in each year, each age. If we took that option, we would have to reduce consumption at all ages by almost 12% between 2020 and 2060. We could work harder. So labor income would have to go up by 16%. So a lot of people are already working hard, so this is not very attractive, as is lower consumption isn't either. But we could also do things like raise labor productivity through more education or eliminating barriers that exist in our society. A third option would be to accumulate more assets. So we could save more for retirement during our working ages and rely more on those in the future. Asset income would have to go up by almost 70% in order this to fill a $7.6 billion hole. So this is a big challenge. And then finally, we can kick the can down the road. That's been a favorite option for years. So we can just accumulate public debt. Well, that's not very attractive. It's not clear we can continue to do that indefinitely, and it just burdens future generations. So anyway, those are the possibilities. Fortunately, we can rely on some combination of them, and hopefully that'll be more acceptable for us. Now, I don't have very much longer to talk, but I want to be sure about a few things. One is that aging is an immediate problem. So the annual deficit is going to be higher in 15 years by almost $5 billion. Secondly, most of that increase is going to be visited on seniors, people 71 or older, so 94% of the increase. And so we need policies that not only deal with the big macro picture, but we also have to deal with the picture with respect to seniors especially. And so there are a number of possibilities. We could improve employment opportunities and productivity for seniors. We can increase it for everybody, of course, and that would allow us to support public programs for seniors better. We could slow growth in healthcare costs without sacrificing quality. We could create a better environment for retirement savings. So that might be saving programs, may also be a better macro environment that where interest rates were higher and returns to retirement savings were greater. We can mobilize public support for federal programs like Medicare and Social Security. That's a national decision, but people in Hawaii can certainly lend their voice to strengthening those programs. And then finally, we can, of course, strengthen programs for seniors at the state and local level. Now, I want to be clear that a lot of more resources go to seniors from federal programs than from state and local programs. So state and local programs, however, are meeting some critical needs, and they can certainly do more of that and do it more effectively. And that would be very valuable as we deal with aging over the next 15, 25 years. So let me just say a final word. I hope people will use these data to look at aging issues in more detail. It may not be clear, but we've been working on these for over 6 months. We've analyzed endless surveys, macroeconomic data, administrative data, to make sure that what we're doing is accurate and also consistent with what other agencies are saying about the Hawaiian economy. Another point I want to make is that we have followed technical guidelines that have been vetted by UN agencies and many others. So we're quite confident in the procedures that we are using. I also want to mention that there are many things about the economy that we don't talk about here. So for every data series I have shown, there are 4 or 5 or 6 underlying series, different elements of consumption or public transfers or state versus federal transfer programs, taxes and different kinds of taxes and so forth. So I hope you'll look at our website and use those in your own work. Thank you.